Welcome to today's all levels yoga practice. Join me for just to get away from the busyness and all the things that need to be done. Dedicate your time here on your yoga mat to be connected to the movement of your body and the healing qualities of your breath. It will ground you, help relieve anxiety, help take some of that stress away. So today, make sure that you have a towel or a blanket rolled up to use throughout the practice. I'm starting out by sitting on my rolled up blanket. I want you to join me and just feel your hips a little higher than your knees and really begin to settle in. You can sit with your legs crossed. Legs don't need to be crossed. You can have your legs straight out in front of you. You need to take a position where you can sit comfortably for a few minutes, a few breaths. Every yoga sequence begins with a seated centering, and that's how we're beginning today. Sitting upon your rolled up blanket, your rolled up towel, hands on your thighs, palms up, palms down, it doesn't matter which. Sit as tall as you can without feeling like you are straining. Try to sit naturally. Placing the rolled up towel under your hips will help lift your hips a little bit higher and releasing through the lower back. Now think of anchoring your hips to the support underneath. And then reach up through the crown of the head. The very top of your head, right above where your ears are, your crown. Reach up. Now keep that. And close your eyes. As you exhale, the first thing I want you to do is relax the shoulders. Here we are, 9:30 in the morning, and there's already tension there. So let's just soften there for a few breaths. Just let it go. Relax the shoulders. Feel them slide down your back towards your hips. Now place your hands on your lower belly. Right where they land, that's the perfect spot. Your thumbs will feel like they're just about in line with your belly button. Now transition your breath into your belly. So you can feel with your inhalation the belly pressing into your hands. So deliberately engage the belly with your breath. Might take a couple of tries to really feel the movement of the belly and to direct your breath down into the belly rather than in the chest and rib cage. Think about pulling your breath all the way down to the very base of you. And as the breath reaches down, you feel a little more grounded, a little softer, calmer. Now with your next breath in, completely release and let go through the belly and the pelvic floor. Just let your belly be full, big, connect to your inner Santa Claus. Big bowl full of jelly right there. Now exhale just as deeply. Just feel all your focus right at the very core of your pelvis. Now release the hands from the belly. With your next breath in, sweep your arms up, bringing your hands together overhead. And as you exhale, let your hands float down, palm pressing to palm. Again, another breath in, sweeping the arms up, hands coming together, exhaling, hands sweeping down. Let's do 2 more breaths. Really try to keep the awareness in the core of the pelvis and releasing the belly with the inhalation. And then just as deep, exhale. And pausing with hands right in front of heart center. Again, use your exhalation to release tension through the shoulders and then the hips and legs. And release your hands. Open your eyes. We're going to come into child's pose. On your hands and knees. Start here. Set up your child's pose. Now bring your knees wide. So this is early in our practice today. Hips might feel a little bit tight. With wider knees, you'll be able to sink your hips closer towards your heels. So knees wide. Bring your big toes in together to touch. And then slowly press back. Sink as low as you can, hips towards your heels, nestle your belly and rib cage between your thighs. Now come down onto your forearms and elbows. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Pause right here. Now relax your neck and let your head feel heavy. A tiny little adjustment here. Pull your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Take a breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Relax the jaw. Really increase the sensation of heaviness in the head. Couple of breaths right here. Just relax the neck. Let the weight of the head help you stretch out the back of the neck and decompress the vertebrae there. Now stack, hand on top of hand. So fist on top of fist, if you feel like you need a little more support. Hand on top of hand. Make sure that you do have support underneath your forehead. At this point, I don't want your forehead to come down to the mat, not just yet. I want you to have room to let the chin feel heavy and relax through the shoulders. Take a couple of breaths here to connect to the movement of your belly with your breath. Just feel heavy, feel grounded, centered, right at the core of the pelvis. Press up. Come onto your forearms, your elbows once again. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Now, if your knees are feeling a little bit stressed because we've been here in child's pose for a little bit, bring yourself up and you can place your rolled up blanket across your ankles and then sink back again. That'll just help support the hips a little bit. So coming down onto forearms and elbows, shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine, looking straight down at the mat so you've got the sensation that your ears are in line with your shoulders. Now stay on your left forearm, left elbow, and reach your right arm straight towards the top of the mat. Creep your hands, your right hand, your fingers towards the top of the mat until you feel the stretch into your right shoulder, right side of your rib cage. Keep the hips heavy, keep the hips sunken towards your heels as much as possible. Just feel the long stretch on the right side. Bring your right elbow back underneath your right shoulder. Shift your weight over onto the right side. Now reach your left fingers, left hand up towards the top of the mat.
Creep your fingers even closer until you feel the stretch into the left side of the rib cage, left shoulder. Anchor your hand in place. Sink into your left hip to deepen the stretch on the whole left side. Now press yourself up, all the way up. Move your blanket, your towel off to the side if you were using it. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Toes curl under, just for a little stability. Now inhale, and as you inhale, relax through the belly, the pelvic floor. Really let the belly droop and the rib cage pop open. Eyes go beyond the top edge of the mat. Exhale, round through the back. Squeeze the belly button in towards the spine, round through the shoulders, tuck your chin in towards your chest. Do that 2 more times. As you inhale, lift your eyes, look forward, open up through the belly and the rib cage. Lots of sway in the lower back. Exhale, rounding through the back, chin tucks towards the chest, shoulder blades spread wide. Another breath in, lift the eyes, look forward. Lots of curve through the lower back, and exhaling, rounding through the back. Shoulder blades spreading wide, belly button pulling in towards the spine. Coming to a neutral table position, looking slightly above your fingertips, ears in line with the shoulders, shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine. Beautiful soft heart. Toes curled under. Take a breath. And as you exhale, lift to downward dog. Hips rise up towards the ceiling. Backs of the knees begin to open. Now keep the shoulders broad. Keep the upper arm bones pushing into the shoulder sockets so you feel like your shoulder blades are still sliding towards your hips. Now relax through the rib cage. And focus on reaching your heels down towards the floor, feeling a stretch in the back of the knees. Still really feeling heaviness through the hips, feeling the weight of the hips assisting you to reach your heels down towards the mat. Now lift your heels, bring your knees all the way back down to the mat, returning to table pose. Now walk your hands forward. Keep your hips over top of your knees. Come down onto your forearms and elbows, and then sink into your shoulders. Forehead coming down to the mat. Keep your fingertips towards the top of the mat. If your forehead doesn't come down to the mat, you can go ahead and place your rolled up blanket, your rolled up towel under your forehead for support. Keep your hips over top of your knees as much as possible. Really lengthen through the rib cage here, the sides of the body, from your hips to your elbows. Now, as you press yourself up, simultaneously walk your hands closer towards you, back underneath, wrists under shoulders. Toes curled under, of course. Soft heart with the shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine. Take a breath. Exhale, lift to downward dog. Again, upper arm bones firmly set in the shoulder socket so you feel like your shoulders are sliding towards your hips. The shoulder blades sliding down the back, or up the back in this case. Downward dog is the most basic of inversions. So just feel the reverse flow of energy here. Rather than grounding down through the feet, think of grounding through the hands. Breathe. And lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Take as many steps as you need to get there. And as you inhale, come halfway up. Hands just resting on the top of your knees. Bend in the back of the knees, softness there. Now feel your arm bones firmly resting in your shoulder sockets. And use that connection to push the shoulder blades in towards the spine, opening up through the sternum, through the collarbones. Now just bring your gaze forward. If you need to, drop your hips a little lower. Deepen the bend in your knees. Just pause right here, grounding through the soles of the feet and your hands. Even though your hands are not on the floor connected to the earth, feel the weight of your hands on your knees. Find softness with your breath. Now inhale, push into the floor with your feet and sweep up. Sweep up. And exhale, sweep out. Bring your feet wide as the mat. A little bend in the back of the knees for softness. Take a breath in, sweep the arms up. And as you exhale, sweep forward and down. Bend in the knees to save the lower back, but stay tall and long through the spine. Grounded, feel the weight in the soles of your feet. Bending your knees enough that your fingertips come to the mat. Now go ahead and reach for your rolled up blanket, your rolled up towel, place it under your hands. Bending your knees enough now, you can plant your palms firmly on the towel, on the blanket. Take a breath. And as you exhale, push into the mat with the soles of the feet. Just lift your hips up slightly, just enough to feel a stretch happening in the back of the knees, the back of the hips. Feeling a stretch somewhere. Now shifting your weight into your left hand. Reach your right hand towards the left corner of your mat. So a little bit of flexion in the spine here. Right hand, my right hand is just floating over the top corner of my mat. Keep the right hip pulling back so you feel the stretch, the full stretch on the entire right side. And you can feel the connection of the left side of your rib cage with your thigh. Breathe into it. Breathe into your left thigh. Bring yourself back to center. Right hand returns to the towel, returns to the blanket. Shifting your weight into your right hand. Left hand sweeps over towards the right corner. Left hand just floating over the corner of your mat. Feel your weight resting on your right thigh. Feel the movement of the rib cage on the right side with your breath. Breathe into the right side. The left side will kind of take care of itself as it stretches and opens. The breath will automatically want to go there, so redirect your breath to the right side, where you want it to go. Create space in your body with your breath. And bring yourself back to center. Now shift your blanket off to the side. Bring your hands to your knees. Now press up. Keep the hips low, knees soft. Rest into the heel of the hands. And then slide the shoulder blades in towards the spine. Drop the hips a little lower. Coming out the same way we did previously. Soles of the feet press into the floor, and as you inhale, sweep out and up. And exhale, sweep out and down. Bring your feet in. Feet hip distance apart here. Standing tall in mountain pose. Go ahead and close your eyes, or let your focal point in front of you go slightly out of focus. I don't want you to focus on what you're looking at. I want you to focus on how you're feeling within your body, within your breath. So soles of the feet firmly connected to the mat. You can feel equal weight front and back, side to side.
Draw your kneecaps slightly up in towards your thighs so you can feel the thigh muscles grabbing hold, engaging. Belly button draws in towards the spine. Feel the strength there that comes from within, deeply from within. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears, and as you exhale, roll your shoulders back. Feel your shoulder blades sliding in towards your spine, and then reach the shoulder blades down towards the hips. Feel the fingertips reaching down towards the floor, to the earth. Relax the jaw. Soften around the eyes. Now we've got all that. Let's keep all that. Place the hands on the lower belly. Thumbs resting just about the navel. Let your thumb tips come together and your index fingers come together. Keep the shoulders heavy. Now feeling perfectly grounded through the soles of the feet, perfectly balanced. Minimal effort required to stand. You've engaged the muscles just enough to hold you steady. Now as you inhale and exhale, really zone into the movement of the belly with your breath. Feel your breath begin to slow down. Really connect to your sense of vitality and your overall wellness. Take one more breath right here. This little mindful breathing, this little meditation right in the middle of our yoga sequence. Now with your next breath in, release your hands, sweep up. And as you exhale, dive down, sweep the arms wide, bend your knees on the way down, bring your fingertips to the mat. Stretch your right foot back. Stretch all the way back, land on the ball of your right big toe. Now, right hand comes to the mat below your shoulder. Left hand to the top of your knee. Take a breath, and as you exhale, just drop the hips down and bring your gaze towards the top edge of the mat. Use your hands, your left hand on your knee, right hand under your shoulder for support. Distribute the weight equally between your feet and your hands. And just look beyond the top edge of your mat. Feel a long line from your right heel to the crown of your head. Try not to compress through the back of the neck too much, just looking towards the top of your mat. You still want to feel like your ears are in line with your shoulders. Take one more breath. Feeling your breath, the movement of your rib cage, your belly on the left thigh with each and every breath. Now exhale, drop the right knee down. If you need a little extra padding here, you can go ahead and reach for your towel, your blanket, place it underneath your right knee. You want to get the feeling that your right knee is behind your right hip, not underneath, but behind. Take a breath, and this time with your exhalation, turn to look to the left. Use your left hand on your knee to rotate through the shoulders, rotate through the rib cage. Just a 90-degree turn here with the rib cage. And you can feel your rib cage sweeping past your left thigh. Now take one more breath. And if you choose, with the exhalation, you can turn to bring your gaze upwards, just deepening the twist just slightly by adding a second twist in the neck. So the first twist is the rib cage, shoulders turning. Second twist is just turning to bring the eyes upwards. Remember, you can stop anywhere in the progression. Stay connected to all the sensations in your body and stay connected to your breath. Now exhale, release the twist. So bring your eyes back down to the mat. Bring your left hand to the inside of your left foot. Wiggle your left foot out. Bring yourself to table pose. Knees under the hips, wrists under the shoulders. Uncurl your toes, let the tops of your feet rest on the mat. Take a breath. And as you exhale, sink your hips back towards your heels. If you want to, widen your knees slightly. Stack hand on top of hand. Reach for your towel, your blanket, or bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. Whichever modification works for you. Take a couple of breaths right here. Press up to table pose. Alignment's really important here as we get ready to transition into downward dog. So wrists under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Curl the toes under. Now take a breath, and as you exhale, draw the shoulder blades in towards the spine, soften through the heart. Really set the upper arm bones in the shoulder joint. Feel the arm bones pushing the shoulders back, keeping the collarbones, the sternum, broad and open. Heart soft. Focus there, on the heart, on the shoulders. Take a breath, and as you exhale, lift to downward dog. Take 2 breaths here in downward dog. Steady, slow yogi breaths, not hurried, jogger, busy breaths. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Take as many steps as you need to get there. Now inhale, come halfway up, hands just underneath your knees. As you exhale, slide your hands back down, bend your knees so your fingertips come to the mat. Step your left foot back. Long step to the back of the mat, landing on the ball of your left big toe. Place your left hand under your left shoulder, right hand to the top of your knee. Take a breath, and as you exhale, think of dropping your right hip down and bringing your gaze towards the top of your mat. Sink your right side of your rib cage onto your right thigh as the right hip drops down. Breathe. Distribute the weight equally between your feet and both hands. You can feel the weight in the heel of your right hand and the left. Think of lengthening from your left heel to the crown of your head. Find softness with your breath. Connect to your vitality. Now drop the left knee down. If you need extra padding, go ahead and reach for your towel, your blanket, place it under your left knee. Feel ease now with that extra connection with the left knee resting on the floor, on the earth. Take a breath. And as you exhale, use your right hand to push into the top of your knee. Rotate through your rib cage and shoulders as you turn to look to the right side, to the wall at the right. Just pausing here. Keep the right hip heavy. Think only of rotating through the rib cage and shoulders rather than opening up through the right hip. Now to deepen the progression, if you choose, making the pose a little bit deeper. As you exhale, turn to look upwards. Keep the left arm long, really ground down through the left hand. Use your hands, your feet, as you push into the earth. Feel the earth push back and give you the support you need. Anchoring you when you need it most. One more breath right here. And with your next exhalation, release the twist. Bring your eyes all the way back down to the mat. Right hand comes to the inside of your right foot. Wiggle your right foot out and bring yourself to table pose. Wrists under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Uncurl the toes, let the tops of your feet rest on the floor. And shift back into your child's pose. Whatever version of child's pose you need. You can place the towel behind your hips if you need support for your knees. You can place fist on top of fist and let your forehead rest on your fists, hand on top of hand. Use your towel, your blanket here under the forehead. Completely up to you. The support that you need in this moment. It's not about making a perfect child's pose, because what truly is perfect is what you need in the moment and whether or not you find it. Adjust. Find what works for you and your body, your breath, and the mind will calm down once you settle. Press up to table pose. Set up your table pose, toes curling under, shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine, opening up the heart, gently pushing the heart forward, nudging it open. Arm bones set in the shoulder socket. Take a breath, and as you exhale, lift to downward dog. Couple of breaths here in downward dog. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, come halfway up. Hands just underneath your knees. As you exhale, soften the back of your knees. And inhale, sweep out and up. And exhale, release. Arms at your sides, coming back to mountain pose. Walk your feet wide. Wide as the mat, no wider than that. Put a little bend in your knees. Now standing tall. Reach your arms out to the sides, just slightly, kind of think of fingertips pointing down towards the corner where the wall meets the floor. Thumbs pointing outwards. Now draw your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Really open up through the collarbones and the sternum. Draw the belly button in. Create some strength, some stability through the midsection, through the core. Now shift your weight onto your right side. So the right knee bends just a little bit more. Now come up onto the ball of the left big toe. Pull your left heel off the mat. Now push down with the right foot. Spread your toes on your left foot and float the left foot off the mat. Reach your left heel, reach with the right heel. Tall. Open through the collarbones, arms long, legs long. Breathe. Just in a modified version here of star balance. Really anchor down. Ground through the sole of your right foot. Reach with both legs. Keep both legs equally active, equally strong, as if you're standing on both legs. Now coming out, bend at the right knee. Left foot comes to the mat. Shift your weight back to center. Standing, knees soft, still engaged. We haven't completely let go yet. You can feel your shoulder blades pushing your heart open, nudging your heart forward. Hands open. It's like you're receiving all the energy from the universe right here. Lightning bolts into the heart, into the palms of the hands. Now shift your weight into your left side. Left knee bends a little more deeply.
Come up onto the ball of the right big toe. Spread your toes on your right foot. Feel your weight shifting more into the left leg. Now push down. Keep the toes spread wide on the right foot. Push down with the left foot. Lengthen through the left leg, and the right leg will just kind of take care of itself. Float up. Both legs equally strong. Both heels, soles of the feet reaching out, reaching down, connecting. Breathe. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. So if you lose your star balance, try again. We must keep trying. We must. Trying to connect and stay grounded. No matter how much we're flying around the earth and the universe. Oh my gosh. Now come out, bend the left knee, let the right big toe land on the mat, shift your weight back to center. Now inhale, reach up, really lengthen through the back of the legs. And as you exhale, sweep the arms down, walk your feet in. Feet hip distance apart once again. Standing tall in mountain pose. Take a breath, and as you exhale, let all the tension melt out of your body from the crown of your head, around the eyes, the jaw, the shoulders. Feel the belly release as you inhale, hips heavy, weight perfectly balanced on the soles of your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, bend your knees, bow forward, bring your fingertips all the way down to the mat. Getting ready for a forward fold here. So if you need to, go ahead and reach for your towel, your blanket. Fingertips on the blanket, on the towel. Eyes looking beyond the top edge of your mat. And as your eyes go forward, feel your vertebrae shifting. Feel the lengthening happening from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Get a sensation that your ears are in line with your shoulders, that there's no compression through the back of the neck, no straining to look beyond the top edge of your mat. Now slide your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Feel your arm bones pushing the fronts of the shoulders back. Open through the heart. So there's a habit here in a forward fold to close through the heart. Keep the heart open by using the shoulder blades to push the heart forward, that little bit of nudge, just like when your mom sent you to school that very first day. Take a breath, and as you exhale, lift your hips up towards your ceiling. Keep a micro bend in the back of the knees to keep the knees safe. And if there's room, begin to bow. Soften through the elbows. Think of bringing your heart towards the towel, towards the blanket, towards the spot right between your hands on the mat. Adjust your gaze to minimize the compression in the back of the neck. Get a sensation that your ears are still in line with your shoulders. Want to maintain alignment here, maintain some length in the spine, in the back of the body. Now notice if your weight is shifting forward into the balls of the big toes, you're going to get an artificial feeling that your forward fold is really deep. Keep the weight equal on the front and back of the feet. With the weight shifting forward into the balls of the big toes, it means your hips have come forward. With the weight in the heels, it means your hips have gone behind your ankles. So try to keep the weight equally balanced on the soles of the feet. Couple of breaths. Whew. Now bend your knees. Move your towel, your blanket off to the side. Get a good connection with the palms of the hands and the mat. And walk your feet back to downward dog. Set the shoulders Shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine. Broad through the collarbones, open through the heart. Now place your right foot to the center. Get a sense that your right big toe is in line with your belly button. Anchor through the palms of the hands, really push. Reach right heel down and float left foot up. Now ground down through the palms of the hands. Reach with the left heel. Reach with the right heel. Keep both legs equally strong, equally long here in three-legged dog. Float your left foot as high as you can. And then release, bringing the left foot down. Adjust the position of your right foot, coming to your downward dog. Take a breath. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. Inhale, come halfway up. Bend your knees, let your heel of your hands rest on your knees. Draw the fronts of the shoulders back. Bring the gaze forward, sink the hips a little lower. Just standing in the supported chair pose. A little bit of active recovery before we do three-legged dog on the other side. Breathe into the core of the pelvis, right here. Feel the belly full with the breath in and completely empty with the breath out. Send your energy down through your legs to the soles of your feet. Now inhale, sweep up. And as you exhale, sweep out, dive down. Bend your knees enough, you can plant your hands, step back to downward dog. Set up your downward dog, palms of the hands firmly connected to the mat. Arm bones really set in the shoulder sockets. You can feel your shoulder blades pushing your heart forward, just giving you a little nudge. Really open from the hips to the hands. Now place your left big toe in line with your belly button towards the center of your mat. Strong left leg, strong hands, and float the right leg up. Spread your toes on your right foot. Reach with the right heel, reach with the left heel. Breathe into the core of the pelvis. And as you exhale, reach the energy down through the legs and out through the soles of both feet. A breath into the core of the pelvis, and as you exhale, reach to the heart. And then out through the arms and the palms of the hands. Feel the strength from within. Notice how grounded you are. And then right foot floats down. Adjust the placement of your left foot. Take a breath. As you exhale, reach the hands, reach the feet. Oh, feel that full length, the openness from your hips to your elbows. So much room for your breath. So much room for life force. The more grounded you are, the bigger your breath will be. Lift your heels, bring your knees all the way down to the mat. Sink back into your child's pose. Whatever version of child's pose that suits you in this moment, work your way into it. Take all the pressure off the hands, the arms. Just relax the arms. Feel the heavy spot at the center of the forehead as you rest. And bring your attention to your breath. Breathing into the core of the pelvis and exhaling out. Feel your breath rippling throughout your body. Restore yourself with your breath. And press yourself up. Swing your legs round to the top of the mat. Place your rolled up blanket, your rolled up towel under your hips so you can sit really tall. So here we are. Bring your feet just a little bit wider than your mat. So your heels are slightly off your mat and you're sitting really tall. Feel a slight tilt in your pelvis. A gentle curve in the lower back. Not rounding through the lower back, but a curve. Now turn to your left leg. Spread your toes so you can feel the weight on the back of your heels. Place your hands wherever you can reach so that your fingertips are just lightly grazing the floor, grazing the mat. Now put a little bit of a bend in the back of your knees as you really anchor and ground down through the heels. As you inhale, use your fingertips to push into the mat and lengthen through the upper body. Keep that. As you exhale, sink into the hips, especially the right hip. So when you've turned to look to your left leg, the right hip is going to want to lift. Really connect there. Don't let that happen. Keep the right hip heavy, sinking into the towel, the blanket that's under your hips. Now staying long and tall through the upper body. As you exhale, bring yourself forward, but think of bringing your heart towards your toes rather than rounding through the spine. Hinge at the hip. Use the arms to keep the fronts of the shoulders back. Shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine. Now, as you come forward, be really aware of the right hip. Keep the right hip anchored to the support below, grounded to the support below. So we're looking for a deep stretch into the right side of the rib cage here. It's an odd spot to stretch, not one that gets stretched very often. Now press up. Maintain all the length in the spine and bring yourself to center. All right, now turning to the right leg. So turning to the right leg, left hand comes in the center. Reach with the fingertips so the fingertips are grazing the mat. Spread your toes, re-engage through the legs, set up the whole sequence once again. Anchor the backs of the heels down, put a little bit of a bend in the back of your knees just to keep your knees safe. With your hips higher, it's really easy to hyperextend the knee joint, so just keep a little soft bend there. Look towards your right toes. Take a breath in. Use your fingertips to push into the floor. Use the length of your arms to find length in the upper body. Feel the crown of the head reaching up. Take a breath. And as you exhale, bow forward, bowing towards your right thigh now, but using the support of your hands and arms to keep the collarbones broad and open. Keep the left hip heavy. Try not to roll all your weight into the right side, but as the left hip stays supported, you can feel the stretch. Notice how easy it is to let your mind wander, and all of a sudden your left hip is like, wait a minute, I didn't want my left hip to pop up, and there it is. So even though you're looking at your toes, keep your mental awareness, your focus on your left hip. Oh, I'm getting a good stretch in the back of my right hip right now. Wasn't expecting that. And press up. Bring yourself to center. Both hands to center now. Bring your feet wider. You decide how wide. Still need to have a little softness in the back of the knees here, again, because your hips are a little bit higher. So you want to keep the knee joint safe.
Spread your toes, anchor the backs of your heels. Up high on your fingertips, use your fingertips to ground into the floor and open up through the collarbones and through the sternum. Shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine. So you've got this beautiful soft heart. Take a breath. Reach up through the crown of the head, anchor the hips, and as you exhale, bending at the elbows, slowly hinging forward. You can adjust the position of your hands. Just be really careful to keep the shoulder blades pulling in towards the spine so you're not rounding through the shoulders. Really stretching through the inner thighs. Take your time. Breathe. Keep your gaze beyond your fingertips. Let's say that. Get a sensation that your ears are in line with your shoulders, that you're not compressing through the back of the neck by lifting the chin. Keep your chin over top of your heart. Breathe. And slowly press up. All the way up. Bend your knees. Bring your toes to the top of the mat. And just scoot off your blanket. Now turn your towel, your blanket, vertically. So it's kind of lined right up with your tailbone. Now this is optional. All right, lower yourself back onto your blanket so that the blanket, the towel, is supporting your spine. And it's long enough, you've got support in the back of your neck. Now, bend your knees and bring your feet as wide as your mat. Reach your arms out to the sides. Really feel open through the collarbones. Turn the palms up so you can feel the weight resting on the back of your hands. Now spread your toes. Bring your awareness to the soles of your feet. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, let your knees fall to the right. Roll onto the outside edge of your right foot, inside edge of your left foot. And at the same time, roll your head to the left. Sink into your outer right thigh. Really relax and disengage through the right buttock. And just let your left knee hover over the mat. This long stretch through the whole left side of your body. From your knee to your armpit on the left side. Feel the openness through the collarbones here because of the support at the back of the heart. With your next breath in, bring yourself back to center. Head to center, knees to center. Feel the blanket once again under your spine from your sacrum all the way to the base of your skull. Take a breath. And as you exhale, knees go to the left this time. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot, inside edge of your right foot. Simultaneously, your head rolls to the right. Just feel your weight shifting and sliding over top of the support of the blanket. But feel the consistent support behind the heart, allowing you to open and breathe. Disengage through the left buttock, outer left thigh, and just let your right knee hover over top of the mat. Inhale, bring yourself back to center. Head to center, knees to center.
Go ahead and walk your feet in towards the center of the mat. Take a couple of breaths right here in supported bridge pose. Just feel the front of the body open, the heart open, and the breath free. Because it's only when we feel supported and grounded that we truly connect to the heart and let our light shine. Now you can keep the blanket underneath the spine as you stretch your legs out and come into final relaxation. Or you can slide off the blanket, position it so that it's behind your knees, and then lie back. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. Bring your arms out to the sides, wrist in line with the shoulders, resting on the back of your hands. Feeling open, feeling supported completely. The weight at the back of your head, behind your shoulders, behind the hips, behind the knees, and behind the heels. Now trust the support, and as you exhale, let the rib cage, the lower back, soften and sink in. Allow your breath to deepen. Breathing into the core of the pelvis. Make your belly as big as you can. Completely release all the tension through the hips, the pelvic floor with your breath in. Literally let go. And as you exhale, draw your belly button in towards your spine. Feel the lower back release and soften. As you inhale, belly expands. As you let go a little more, your breath deepens, gets bigger. Exhale, belly button pulls in, letting go even more. I invite you to stay here in final relaxation for as long as you feel you need to. I'm going to take a couple more breaths to really linger in the sensation of heaviness, softness, feeling of safe. If you'd like to join me in rising up, feel free, or stay right where you are for as long as you need. I'm going to use my next breath to just begin wiggling my fingers and toes and reconnecting to the physical world. But trying to hold on just a little bit to the feeling of wellness, the calmness of being connected to the earth and the earthly body. Slowly bending knees and gently rolling onto the side, the right side. Resting here for another breath. And slowly press up. Reaching forward, rolled up blanket one more time.
Sitting tall. Hands together at the heart. Eyes softly closed. Taking a moment to be grateful. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be loved. May all beings be at peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.